So welcome to the Talk Up Youth Empowerment Through Dialogue Town Hall, where some of you were trained yesterday in governance, government, advocacy, and the Constitution, your rights and responsibilities as citizens. We had a discussion. I know a lot of you learned a lot, and some of you are joining us for the first time. The aim of this project is for you to understand how the country works, so you can play your part, and so that you can have dialogue with your elected officials who are entrusted to what? To what? Govern, to serve, right? So we want you all to play your part as citizens, and I'm going to now allow you the opportunity to be introduced to your representatives by them. Representatives, I thank you for being here, and I would like you to just introduce yourself to your young constituents and let them know who you are and what your role and responsibility is. Thank you so much. Let's give them a warm round of applause.
Shahini Robinson, Member of Parliament, Centre and Northeast. And I believe that my responsibilities are to make sure that you have a safe environment, that the infrastructure is in place, that education is available, that good health is available, and water. I think those are some of the 5 most important things. Housing opportunities too. In this constituency, we have a particular challenge for affordable housing solutions. And I can safely say that they have not built any houses, successive governments have not built any houses in this constituency for certainly for the last 17 years. There's a private developer, there are private developers who have built homes, but the government has not, as an initiative, built any homes, and it is something that is high on the agenda for me. We know that unemployment is a problem, not just in Northeast Centan, but throughout the island. And as a government, we are doing our best to address it. As a new government, we're doing our best to address that. Training is important. Skills training is also important, because what we have in Jamaica, largely at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, we have found out that less than 40% of the population is trained and certified, and that can present a challenge when persons are looking for people for employment. Somebody raised it with me that we have a very good overseas work program, which is the seasonal agricultural workers program, and to a lesser extent, the hotel program. And they said, why are we only sending agricultural workers and hotel workers? The truth is that we can't compete with a country like India if they want people for technology, because the amount of people that they need for technology is almost, India could supply our entire population in persons who are sufficiently trained in technology. So we have a challenge here. So we can only send, what we have in abundance and what is required right now. But there are challenges, and we know that, and we are working as best as we can to change some of those things.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to have a lot of conversation. I know some of the issues will come up, and you will be able to expound on some of those things. So let's welcome our Member of Parliament.
Well, my name is Michael Belnavitz. I'm the Chairman of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, and by virtue, the Mayor of St. Anne's Bay. I am really happy to be here today. The fact is that Talk Up Youth really is a good medium for the young people to really express themselves. And for that, you really need to give yourself a big round of applause, because there is such a big disconnect with what happens in your minds and what happens in terms of the whole governance of the country. And we want to see forums like these bridge the gap. And we want to really utilize this forum to see how we as, and I thought it was just the other day I was your age, because my son now is just 22. And I was like, it just went by like that. And, so what is how we can bridge the gap? Because I'm still thinking, in mind anyway, that I'm your age, but physically I'm at this age. So it's like, they could disconnect. But as far as the municipal corporation goes, it's a whole new dispensation. It's an old-time parish council. And with that, we are the ones that run the day-to-day government of the community. And that we deal with the street lights, the minor road repairs, we deal with the social issues like the infirmary, poor relief. And we try to upgrade the standards now. It's no longer called poor relief, it's now called human services. We want to really change the dynamics of things of that nature. Drop-in centers where we deal with some of the homeless, things of that nature. We deal with, there's a myriad of things that we deal with when it comes to subdivisions, approvals, markets, and a series of other things like that. So garbage collections to a lesser extent through the Ministry of Local Government. So we are the ones that deal with the day-to-day operation that reflects your lives moving forward.
Before we even go no much further, we have several other persons to introduce themselves as well. We have some youth councillors, more youth councillors like yourself who are here. But before we do that, we want to get into the actual meat of the matter and start with the questioning.
Well, as we do, I think the MP wanted to respond, because when she said about the Constituency Development Fund or the 20 million that was given to the MP, maybe we should ask our Member of Parliament to clarify, because she was saying nothing no go so maybe we need to clarify that from the Member of Parliament. What is that $20 million and where does it go?
The constituency, this year, an allocation of 20 million was made to all members of parliament. Up to the last financial year, it was $15 million. When the funds are allocated, members of parliament receive a letter to say that they must send in their project documents. Out of that 20 million, $2 million is mandatory for social housing. $2 million is mandatory to be allocated to rehab and welfare. Rehab and welfare means that if there is a fire, if there is flooding, we can respond in a timely way. Another $2 million for disaster mitigation is also mandatory. So that's $6 million. So after that, the funds, you do the projects. So some of us put $4 million for education. We use $2 million for sports development in the constituency. We also use $2 million for economic enablement, which would mean that if somebody has a little shop and they want to restock it, we can assist with that. They have a little stall. You're a hairdresser and you want help with a little manicure table or something like that. We can help in those instances. And then we have to set aside some money for employment generation, which is really Christmas work. And we have a cap on that where we can't allocate more than $3.5 million. So you see, even when we were working with $15 million, how tight it is. These funds are, they're at the office of the Prime Minister, because that is where the Constituency Development Fund resides. The allocations, after the project documents are submitted, and they are gone over with the project officers, the funds are then distributed to the respective agencies. So you say, I send $2 million to the National Works Agency for disaster mitigation. It is held at the National Works Agency. If there is a flood, or flooding like what we had the other day, or blocked roads, we can then say to the Works Agency, I have funds there. You give out the work. You get a backhoe and a truck to clear Gully Road, for example, when it was blocked, or in front of Mystic Mountain when it was blocked. They then give out the work. They carry out the works because they are the executing agency. We have no control over those funds. If it is that someone passes and the family comes and says, we need a little assistance to bury that person, as members of parliament, we have to ask for the burial order, a copy of the burial order, and an invoice from the funeral home. That is then submitted to the implementing agency, whether it be the SDC or the local municipality, and they then write the check to Brown's Funeral Home. Members of Parliament do not handle cash. And I would never want to handle taxpayers' money or the government's money. So we only make the requisitions and the checks are then paid out. You want help with your glasses, the check is made to Broadbents. You want help to do an X-ray or an ultrasound at Island Radiology, the check is made payable to Island Radiology. And we make the requisition and we give you the check. We have nothing else to do. The work is given out at Christmas. The agents or the officers, the works overseers from the parish council or the works agency, they give out the work. We cannot give out work. We are not authorized to give out any work. And the payment for the work resides with the executing agency that has the funds. So the allocation is given to the constituency. It is not given to the member of parliament. So God forbid, if I should die tomorrow, whatever is left there, the next person who comes to represent the constituency would have whatever is left of the funds that has not been expended by the former member.
God forbid that indeed, because we don't want you dead tomorrow, Ms. Robinson. And as you mentioned, that the issue of things being dead and dead things that are no longer useful, we have our youth to kickstart our questioning, and we have Altherine Lawson and Monique Newfield with their questions. They will raise 3 issues here and we'll take them point by point. So everyone, listen keenly. All right, here we go.
Hi, I am Monique Newville,
And I'm Altherine Lawson.
and this is some of the issues affecting our community. We live in the community of Ocherias.
Have you ever driven on the market street and seen the garbage there? Boy, it's not pretty at all. It smells bad and worst of all, it's bad for health.
The mad people them on the road. Every weekend is a new one. Are we a recruit?
The road right in the center of the town, potholes they kill, and every day we have tourists. No man, we need to do something about these problems.
Bigger authorities, what is it that we can help you with? You have to step in and we'll follow right along.
Okay, 3 issues raised. Clap them, man. Clap them, clap them, clap them, clap them, clap them, clap them. Good. So, Mr. Mayor, we'll be taking the issues one by one. The first issue is garbage. You have a direct question as it relates to garbage as well from Davina. Go ahead, Davina, with a question.
My question is, what can be done about the garbage bin that's located in the entrance at the market in Brownstown and the surrounding areas? Could they have been placed somewhere else as it is not proper for human health?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Okay, that particular market bin is a skip. It's located right across on Digital right at the entrance. That's the one you're referring to, right? There are 2 areas where garbage is disposed of, well, to be picked up by the solid waste department. One at the front of the market and one at the back of the market. Now, I recognize that there's an issue there, and we're moving the skip as we speak. It should have been done already from last week to the side of the market on Market Street itself. There is no other place for it to go, so we're trying to recognize that there's an issue. But I want to use this opportunity to let people know that it is not for the community to dispose garbage in that particular skip, because I'm there and I see people just drive up the car, back the trunk, and start disposing of garbage, all different types of garbage. Some may can't lift out of the vehicle, you know, and it is not for that purpose. It is for the purpose of the market. So they're helping in the unsightly condition. And sometimes they don't throw it in the skip, they'll throw it at the base of the skip. So we need to live as one and really take a corporate, community decision to really move it, not to litter the place.
But can I just add that as a people, we have to look at how we dispose of our garbage. People will be standing beside a garbage can in Ocherios, children in school uniforms, and the garbage can is right there. And rather than just drop it in the garbage can, they drop it on the road beside them. They throw it into the drains, and some of the garbage that you see in the drain in the market, it didn't come from just there, you know. It came from way up. Persons up in the hills throw the garbage and the rain washes it down. We clean, at one time I spent $2 million to clean that main drain that runs the entire disaster mitigation funds that allocation I had to clean the main drain in Ocherios. And the day after I cleaned it, You know what I saw in the drain? A love seat. You know, a chair, a sofa with 2 seats. Somebody actually threw a piece of a living room set in the drain. So as a people, we have to be more responsible in how we dispose of our garbage. The potholes that you spoke of in Otres, we are aware that there are potholes there. I think that you will acknowledge that the bypass, the Otres bypass, has been reinstated, has been done, resurfaced, the entire length of the bypass. We intend to do the town of Otres, but we have been having rains since September, 3 months of heavy rains. Contractors are tearing out their hair. They don't know what to do. This section that was dug up right across from Taj Mahal in Otres on the main street, the contractor, we were there on Thursday looking to see how best we could address that. But if we try to patch the roads, this is a case of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If we try to patch the roads in the rain now, the same people who are complaining about potholes will drive up beside us and say, oh no, we waste taxpayer money, we want to fix road in the rain. So we have to wait until, but we know of the inconvenience because we use the roads too. We are well aware of the inconvenience. As it relates to the homeless people, I don't know if the mayor can shed any more light on it, but we are aware, and it is. I mean, I saw.
Before you continue, Madam Robinson, we had a few questions as it relates to homeless persons as well, and also persons with mental issues. One person from this side, could a person just stand and come and ask a question so you can just answer everything collectively?
As a group, we would like to know how many shelters are there in St. Anne to facilitate the homeless.
Thank you so much, and it's a very perceptive question. You know, part of what we do at the municipal corporation is to take care of the homeless, the sick, the indigent, and so on. And the infirmary is pretty much one of those institutions where we take care of the less privileged, less disenfranchised, and the sick and helpless in the community. Now, that is based in St. Anne's Bay. And it's a very big budget that we use to facilitate these individuals. There are over 150 individuals there right now. However, for the first time, and we're the first ones in the entire island, we'll be opening a drop-in center right there in, it's not true.
You can go ahead, Minister Robinson. Go ahead.
So we're the second one, not the first. I mean, corrected by the minister, who was the minister of local government at one point. So we're the second drop-in center in the country. No,
what is a drop-in center? What does that mean?
I'm going to explain. A drop-in center is an area. It's an area where it's a building where the homeless can go and get food, clothing, medical, wash down, bathe. They could take care of injections, medications, sedatives, things of that nature, so that they can get reabsorbed back into the community, in a more pleasant way. They'll be there getting 3 meals a day. And of course, they'll have nurses there to take care of them in terms of their anxiety situation. And it will be done in a humane way because it's a nice modern building that we have. It's going to be opened up by the end of this coming month here, February, this month that we're in right now. So that will be an enhancement to the social issues that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The municipal corporation, believe it or not, is the most humane government agency because we're the ones who deal on the ground with all the issues associated with homelessness, destitution, people who have all kind of physical ailments, poorhouse.
As I mentioned that though, Mayor, there was a follow-up question.
So as a concern though, after you have this drop-in center where they come in and they get their meals 3 times per, is there an implement where you're going to get they're going to have somewhere where they can sleep during the night instead of on the streets?
No, the drop-in center, that's why I say it's called drop-in. So they drop in and then they...
I think that this is enough, as in they're on the streets.
Can I say something?
On the street.
It cannot be the responsibility of government to solely to take care of these people. They must have families somewhere, and at some point, families have to take responsibility too. there was a study done a couple years ago that says that the world is moving away from confining persons in institutions who are mentally ill. That the treatment for mental health is more community-based now. So because of that, you find that even the asylum in Kingston is releasing persons. Sometimes their own families don't want them. I got a call this week from a lady who was devastated because her brother has been in the asylum for 27 years. Her parents have passed, and they're now releasing him. She has her own life. She's married, has her children, and they're now releasing him to her. She's devastated. She wanted to know if she could get her food for the poor house to put him. She didn't want to have to deal with it. But let me tell you something. We have to be our brother's keeper. And every time I see somebody on the road, a homeless person, I say, there but for the grace of God goes any one of us. It could be any one of us. Sometimes, too, in Otrius, we have to look at the people and wonder if all of them are mentally ill. Because there are a lot of reasons why persons are on the street. Some of them are drug addicts, and they're just misfits in society. It's not as if they don't have family, and maybe if they're agreed to go up to Teen Challenge, because there is Teen Challenge that is doing a fantastic job.
Explain what that is.
Teen Challenge is a drug rehabilitation center, and it is free. But you that have the drug problem, you must be willing to admit. I couldn't take Peter Gay and say, I want to put my daughter in Teen Challenge. She has to admit that she has a problem, she has an addiction, and she wants to be cured. They have a program that lasts for a year and a day, and it is totally free. And the persons there are rehabilitated in every sense of the word. And when you go there, you would be surprised to see some of the people that you see there.
A follow-up though, Ms. Robinson. The question she was asking, so yes, family members need to take responsibility, but what she was alluding to is how is that done in terms of reintegrating this person on the street with their family? Because there may be instances where the family members don't even know the person. So if they are taken to the drop-off center, they get some drop-in center, they get some food, they get some clothes.
Giovanni,
how do we help?
I wish that all the persons who have, because we know what the problems are, what we're looking for is solutions. And I don't know how many people in this room have ever bothered to stop to talk to those people. I stopped and talked to a guy who was living on the bridge in Ochi. He was more lucid than me. He was as sane as anything. You know what? Him say I couldn't stand to live with him grandmother Blackstone Edge. That's why I'm come and live under the only rationale for living under the bridge in Otrius was because he could not stand to live with his grandmother in Otrius. And I said to him, so why you don't get a job and straighten out the thing on because nothing is wrong? And I said, well, I'm not paying no rent, I'm not no problem. So right now, Mr. Rob, so let's go and juggle the thing. So we have to understand that a lot of people that we see on the road, all of them are not insane. All of them are not insane, and we have to talk to them to find out. Sometimes they look at Bev that was under the bridge. Bev is now married. Bev got married to a porter who works at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, and she lived under the bridge. And while she lived under the bridge, she took in washing. You could pass and see clothes flying under the bridge because she had an addiction. She wanted to make a difference. And when she did get a chance with some overseas visitors who came and spent the time to help her, she was reformed. She has her house in Mansfield Heights, and she's now married from the bridge to a bride. The Observer carried the story the other day. So if more of us would be willing to be our brother's keeper, maybe the problem would not be as bad as it is. It is bad, but we have people in Otrius who volunteer and feed these people out of their own pockets, and what we need is more volunteer. Volunteerism is almost dead.
Let's get the final, I know you have last one, and then we get some more young people to ask questions. What an interesting story. Miss Bev, I need to meet Miss Bev.
Yes.
My question was, after these mentally or homeless persons are being treated, is it important that they have someone that goes out to keep check on them to ensure that they are okay?
Absolutely, and that's why the government has invested in psyche aides. There are a lot of psyche aides who are employed to the hospitals and the clinics who do community follow-up and who make sure that these persons get their injections or medication, as the case may be.
Youth councillors, you've been itching for the last 15 minutes to give an input. Go ahead.
All right, so as it relates to the question about the Brownstone Market and the Dome, in December we had done a cleanup, and like directly after the cleanup, you saw cars just backing up, and we didn't even leave there yet, and the bin that we cleaned and we washed down the market and everything, it was full again. So the fact is, us as youths, as this forum says, talk up. We have to be the ones to say, listen, no dirty up Jamaica. We have to come out and say, that dump is not for the community. It's for a set purpose. It's for the market. It's for the mall. It's just for them. You guys need to know how to dispose of your garbage. Another thing for me, my advent right now as youth councillor, and I'm putting it, well, I've written the letter, and it's to put recycling bins in Brownstone, because we, as Jamaica, we need to become more health conscious. We need to learn how to become more green, like go green with it. For the homeless, right? I know many of you guys have been to Kingston at least once in a while, right? And you've seen the younger kids on the road, you've seen car washers, you've even passed persons in Brownstone, St. Anne's Bay. The thing about it is, as Mrs. Robinson said, we have to be our brother's keeper, Miss Robinson. We have to be our brother's keeper, right? We have to be the ones, if you have a little $100, instead of buying that lollipop you saw, or for us girls, that edge control that you saw, why don't you try and buy a meal for that person and give it to them? I'm a part of the Brownstone Community College Circle K team. I was the president last year. And one of our advent was, we went up to the Jacob's Ladder home and we spent a whole day with them. And I'm telling you guys that persons who you deem mentally unfit, or you think that, oh, he's not looking as how I am, he's not normal. When I sat down and I had conversations with these persons, I'm saying, listen, they're more sane than us in society. Like, we ourselves as youth, we have to contribute. My thing, or what I think is, us as youth should come together and put on events, you know, try to do tag drives and contribute to a homeless center. And at the end, we can say, this center was donated by the youths of St. Anne.
As I mentioned that point, I want to just quickly, clap our flag, a big point, big point. Could the other youth councillor or councillors here to show me your hands, please, so I can see you? Youth councillor, just stand and introduce yourself quickly and tell us what you do. Any other youth councillor here? Come forward, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicolette Hewitt, and I am the youth councillor for the Sturgetown division. My councillor is Winston Lawrence. Well, my role is to help the youth mayor and my fellow councillors to help the youths of our community do things like keep our community clean, help other youths with schoolwork, etc. So just like this is saying, talk up youth, we need to express our problems to one another and try to help each other with them. So don't keep everything private. Try to express yourselves, get to know each other better, so that we could live a better life and help each other in the future society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Saren Mesquita, and I am the youth councillor for the Ocherius division. My councillor is Mayor Bell Navis. What I am planning to do is focus on trying to fix the parochial roads. For my community, the community that I live in, my road needs fixing, so I'll focus on fixing those roads.
What do you mean by parochial roads? They sound big and fun. What would that mean?
Roads that are not the main roads.
Okay. All right, importantly, you mentioned an issue that we're going into, the issue of infrastructure and roads. We have some more pictures as well that we're going to show now to kind of visualize what we are talking about. But a suggestion to the youth councillors here. So I heard you have plans to say what you want to do, and I heard the other one saying, you know, what she would like to see. How about, you know, come together as youth leaders and do something? Do you have any joint projects that the councillors are, that the youth councillors are doing? Could you address that as well and answer? Let me know.
At the moment, we are trying to sort out a suitable project for St. Anne, because we want the whole parish to benefit from it. So We haven't set that big project for all of the councillors as yet, but it's in the making. But individual councillors are making their plans and, you know, trying to get everything in order to execute these plans.
Okay, thank you so very much. And while we load this video now of the infrastructural problems that we're speaking about as it relates to roads, I just want to acknowledge that we do have youth parliamentarians here with us as well. I'll have them introduce themselves shortly. We have a report from one of our community reporters, a youth as well, as we segue into this other important aspect of the discussion, infrastructure and roads.
So yesterday we were encouraging our young people to, it's kind of mobile journalism, social advocacy, capture it with your phones, tell the story so that we can come together with groups who share the similar issue and come up with a plan together with our elected representatives on how we address these issues.
There we have some more pictures of bad roads in the meantime.
Yes.
We have a video as well from Ophelia. We'll come into that shortly. So these are some of the issues affecting, well, not just St. Ann, but right across Jamaica.
Okay, as you know, within the last 3 months, we've had what is considered to be above normal rainfall in St. Ann. As a matter of fact, that one is above normal. The torrent of the rain has been so devastating that we had so much landslides and scouring of roads that has been somewhat unprecedented. So a lot of these photographs that you're looking on are as a result of the rains that we've had within the last several months. Now, I think today is one of the few days that we've had in recent times where it's been back-to-back sunlight. It's been, and you know, you're all St. Annians, it's been raining and raining, and then that one doesn't rain. It comes down in buckets, and you know, it covers the roads and creates all kind of issues. And then there are the issues also of deforestation up in the hills, some illegal construction, runoff from the rooftops, squatting. Those are social issues that are creating a lot of the devastation that you see right down on the coast. As a matter of fact, our emergency funds from the St. Ann Municipal Corporation has been almost depleted in trying to deal with this last set of rains that we've had, in trying to resolve. But in particular, Discovery Bay, Runaway Bay, and Orchards, where the rains have been has devastated the place most, and of course St. Anne's Bay itself with Limewall and so on. So those are fundamental issues that we have to deal with, and so recognizing what it is and recognizing that some are even beyond our capacity as a municipal corporation, but we're going to be unleashing a series of road patching and rehabilitation work as soon as the sun comes out. And you can expect some of these roads will be repaired in short order.
Some specific questions about roads, though, Mayor. First with Rafila, go ahead.
Yeah, I know the rain has been it has a lot to contribute to this, but I was wondering how soon or what will be done to adjust these roads, because it's very dangerous for pedestrians and motorists.
Yeah, sure.
Good question. Good question.
This is just a piece of the road. The entrance is very bad as well. Recently, it was patched because a funeral was to be held further on where it is really bad there, where the person died.
Tell us a location.
This is Kima Bamboo.
Oh, Kima?
Yes.
Kima and Bamboo.
Mm-hmm. This is just a section of the road.
I drove the entire length of Kima last week, Wednesday, from the playground entrance straight through to Lime Hall. It is in a deplorable condition. And I have submitted it under the farm roads program because it is a farm road. And and I am making representation to see how best we can get it repaired. However, it is a road that is shared with two constituencies. One side of the road is Northeast St. Anne, and one side is Northwest.
Which one are you, MP?
I am the left side going in from the playground end.
And who's the MP for the other side?
Dr. Dayton Campbell. And since 2001, I think I've been the only really visible member of parliament in Kima. I can say that for myself, because there was no electricity when I came to the constituency, and I made representation and agitated until we got electricity running through there, through rural electrification. And I'm so pleased to see how many beautiful big houses have been built there, and I believe that the people there are taxpayers and they deserve for the road to be repaired. And I will be making the representation to get it done. I'm not making any promises, but I will see.
Speaking, I just have to come in, sorry, about representation. Dr. Dayton Campbell was invited, the Member of Parliament, and I will get an update for you young people why he's not here, but we did reach out to every single MP at the same time. So we're going to get an update. I know that there's a funeral today as well for somebody in the community, but we will tell you why. I'm going to send him a text now and find out, okay?
And we're still going to follow up before we bash anybody. We don't want it to look like we come up with bashing one side. We'll try to be very fair and balanced, all right?
Fair enough.
We have more questions as well as it relates to roads. Go ahead, just introduce yourself.
Your Mayor, Mr. Shea Pinnock, I'm a resident of Runaway Bay area. My big concern is about the severe flooding that's happening in the square. My question is, what can be done to fix this and how soon it can be done?
Within the last year, Mayor, there have been 2 significant floodings. I do remember doing reports on that as well.
All right, we have done some, as you know, that area has been flooded twice in a year, last year and just recently. And most of that flooding is a result of the gully, the Longshore Gully, that has overflown, overrun its banks. And the drain associated at the base of Discovery Bay, Runaway Bay, being clogged up with debris. There was some issue associated also with someone blocking the drain with a steel gate that has since been taken care of. But the runover and so on is a result of, I spoke about before, Mines and Geology and ODPM have done some work and have given us some feedback. And what we're looking at right now is there's some construction and road work, well, clearing of lands anyway, further up in the hills, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it, because what we're found is that there are a lot of debris, marl debris that has been washed down and has covered the entire base of the gullies. And that is what we're trying to prevent, because with the wash down of the marl and the rubble and the stones is creating havoc with the drains. What we did was we spent most of our emergency monies, believe it or not, in the Discovery Bay, Runaway Bay area, because that area was the most extensive in terms of the damage. Councillor Lawrence, Councillor Ricketts, and myself were on the site at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we went and toured the area, and we got NWA to clear a lot of the roads, and we mobilized tractors right away and got trucks to move the debris. So there was very little dislocation, but in terms of traffic along the east-west highway. But certainly there were a lot of houses that were flooded out. And there's one particular retaining wall that we need to take care of by the Longshore Gully to ensure that those houses along that side don't have a recurrence of the flooding that they had, because they have been sweeping out water out of their living rooms and bedrooms and so on. It's not, was that you?
No, that's me. I'm within the actual town center itself, where the stoplights are.
Yes.
I remember a video that had come into our news center.
Sure.
With a car in the middle of the road and the person in the road, the water literally coming right up. I heard you mention a retaining wall that needs to be dealt with. But that main area, that wall right there, isn't that a major part of the problem?
Well, there are
because the water cannot clearly, not being able to, the volume of water not being able to go out into the sea when it rains.
Right. There are drains at the base of those walls.
Right.
Of that wall. And it
But
got,
are those
for some
drains
reason
enough?
it got clogged up. But there is a steel gate there also that had the steel. Someone had put steel at the base of the gate, so there was no runoff. So the water rose because there was no runoff, and it went to the swimming pool of the guest house to the left by Mr. Fit. So he had to be bailing out mud out of the swimming pool. As a matter of fact, he had to let out everything out of the pool. So that entire area got flooded. But I think that where it stands right now, there won't be a recurrence because the gate has been taken care of and the drains have been cleared. However, it still doesn't mitigate against the fact that there's a runoff of the debris, the stones, the marl, the grit from further up the lane, right up in the gully bank. So that is what we're trying to mitigate against. We spent a lot of money, over $3 million from our emergency funds just to clear the gully. As you know, for those who live in the area will know that that gully has been cleared already and it is now flowing freely. It's the same gully that goes down to the Discovery Bay Road. That was broken away in the last flood rains 1 year ago, and this time the Gabion basket at points were dislodged. So it's a lot of water running through there. The road has been rehabilitated and so on, the Dunbarton Road.
Okay.
But at this stance right now, we're watching the situation keenly.
Okay, thank you. We have another question as well.
Yes, my name is Andre McIntosh of the O3S Police Youth Club, the Farm Plan Youth, the Red Cross Youth, the Street Feeding Program in O3S, as well as the St. Ann Parish Youth Council Steering Committee. Now, my question is, and before I ask my question,
Talk in the mic, brother.
Before I ask my question, I want to disagree as it relates to the retaining wall in Runaway Bay because I work there sometimes. And the gate, if you notice that there's a slope.
Disagree on what exactly?
Disagree with the fact that they are saying that the gate is open and now the water can flow freely. Yeah? So I do understand the effort and I respect it, but I also go beyond the gate to look and I see where there is nothing significant beyond that wall to prevent a bigger what you would call a bigger drainage to allow the water to go through. All right. So while I do understand that they open metal gate, yes, I've been trapped in the water, but I can swim and the bus can swim. But I also
You were trapped in the water as well?
No, that's something me just say a while ago. Yes. All right. So I was trapped in the water, but the bus can swim, so I was able to get out gloriously. All right. So that is my point on that. Now, being a member of the Police Youth Club, right? You have to understand that we have sentiments to every unit. Means that the over, I think it's about 22, 23 police youth clubs in the parish. You have sentiments. In the parish of, in the community of, it's not New Hope. It's a community when you go to Beecher Town and you go to that dirty road and you, Airport. Yeah, thank you. The community of Airport, for the 10 years that I've been in Police Youth Club, have never have a good road. We tried to go up there on several occasions. One time I couldn't get no driver. I have to walk from Beecher Town to Airport. You know the long that something that is? Yes. So I have to walk because I couldn't get no drive. Right? And we went to Airport for the club launch and the road was rocky and dirty. No one even wanted to pick you up on that road. So my question is, what is the immediate plan to address the road in Airport? Secondly, in New Hope as well. Yes, New Hope. I've been to almost all youth clubs in St. Ann. The youth club bites are here. Yes. All right. So in New Hope, my second question is, what is the immediate plan to address youth unemployment in the parish? You know amount of youth in a St. Ann and work, and we understand that yes, the government cannot just say, all right, private sector, give this person a work or whatever, give this person a work. But on the other hand, is that if there is more jobs in the parish, then it will do what you call mitigate crime because less person will be persuaded by gangsters to say, all right, you can't make money over here, so you can go to shoot at somebody, get a $250,000, and you're good. Right? So what is the immediate one? What is the immediate plan for youth employment? And two, what is the immediate plan for the road in New Hope and Airport?
Directed to your mayor or MP Robinson?
To whom it may concern.
Talk up you, Mr. Fit!
Talk up youth!
Talk up you, Mr. Fit!
Talk up youth!
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is more technical than it seems. We've actually had dialogue with the National Works Agency to look at that situation there, because as you know, that's a private wall. I'm not sure how the property delineation goes in terms of who owns the wall and so on. I believe it's part of the Eden, the hotel, or what was the hotel. So that needs to there needs to be further dialogue in that particular arena. It's not just a straightforward knock on the wall and the problem solved. So it is ongoing with the National Works Agency. They are the ones who have the jurisdiction over that particular road. If you want ownership, that's where the ownership goes. In terms of airport, same thing. It's a member of parliament, I think, Dayton Campbell.
No.
Lisa Hanna. Lisa Hanna, member of parliament, and Councillor Bell, who is the Bell. I'm Bell Navis. He's Bell, and I know that there's an estimate for $50 million to sort of that road. It's a pretty extensive road. So I know we have asked. I've written to JSIF to see what can be done, and they have said that something that they'll look into. But certainly that is going to be has to be spearheaded by the member of parliament, Ms. Hannah, to see if that road can be dealt with. Because it's really out of the scope of what we could even attempt to do at the municipal corporation.
Okay, so that's one of the issues. So we're going to move away from.
Hold on, he had two more questions.
Yeah, man. No, so his
Okay,
question
sorry,
it's
yes.
another topic.
As it relates to community centers, violence is emerging in my community. And I was wondering if we could get a community center in Bamboo so they could have something else to occupy them time other than fighting each other.
In Bamboo, it is Dr. Dayton Campbell. I only come from Prairie at the stoplight on the left-hand side going up and turn through Kima on the left-hand side. So Bamboo is not in the constituency that I represent. It has never been.
I'm on that side in Kima. I'm on the left.
So you're a
side
Kima?
Yes, you're a Kima, but there is no reservation there in Kima for a community center to be built. The community center would have to be built in Bamboo, I would imagine. And I want to be perfectly honest to tell you that JSIP, the last time, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, last time I approached them to build a community center, they were not interested in building a community center because, and I think the reason is obvious, these community centers, by and large, are locked up all week. It is only on a Sunday, if you have a football competition or a cricket match, that you see it being used.
Youth, do you agree or disagree? Raise your hand if you agree with what she's saying. So the question is, are these community centers going to be locked up or are you going to use them? What do you think your community is going to do if you have one?
I would use it. My kids will use it as well.
So can I tell you that I approached JSIF to build a community center in Breadnut Hill, and I was given that answer that I just gave you. So I became creative, and I sought to build a basic school in Breadnut Hill that we could use as a community center for the community to meet and to discuss things and, put on their little fairs and little fundraisers. So whatever we build must be of a dual purpose. I have long argued that community centers, those that we have in Lime Hall, in Otres, in Buckfield, and in Eltham, and content gardens. I believe that they should be open during the week, and the unattached youth should get training there. There are a lot of things that you could be trained to do that would contribute to they would help to reduce unemployment and contribute to make the linkages with the tourist industry, because we can make indigenous jams and candies and jellies, and we can do embroidery things, because we are a creative people that could be sold to the tourist trade. Another thing is, how do we get young people interested in those things, because a lot of young people are not interested in
youth unemployment, major issue. That's thank you for your question, by the way. So that's the direction we're going now. The question was asked earlier about youth unemployment. Okay, so the issue though, Ms. Robinson, or Minister, the community centers that are closed, is it that something can be done from either your office, the Office of the Municipal Corporation headed by the mayor, or perhaps also some of the business sector here? There are a lot of tourism interest here, lots of large entities. So perhaps training programs at the community level where persons in the communities can go, so that the community centers can be utilized or something?
We have utilized one in Lime Hall for training, the Marcus Garvey Skills Training Center in St. Anne's, where we have also utilized that for training. What I'm saying is that we must look at it in a wholesome way. They fall under the Ministry of Local Government, and we must look at how best we can really open them up. If it is even to use them as homework centers, but we have to use I think that having them locked up is government resources that could help to alleviate some of the challenges and the problems we have in communities in a better way.
Thank you very much. Youth unemployment, everyone with their question on youth unemployment, please make your way to the microphone right now.
I just want to know if the young people are satisfied with the response, or does anybody have a solution for engagement and dialogue on how to reopen and activate or reactivate these community centers? And then we have to work out who's going to fund it and who's going to join hands with the members of parliament to make that happen. Anybody want to offer a solution on the communities, or should we just bulldoze them down and sell them? What's the question? What's the response? What's the solution?
All right, so remember when I said to you guys that as it relates to the homeless and how we as youths could contribute to that, we could actually put on events in those community centers. We could also use them as homework centers, because I'm sure many of us have cousins, brothers, sisters who want help with homework, but we ourselves can't help them. So if we get persons like college students and high school students, even primary school students helping out the kindergartens, us as youth can actually use those centers. So that's one advent for it. I actually have a question, and I was told to direct it to you. My question actually is, I went to the Iona High School, and I was in a class of students who I was lucky enough to pay for my subjects, but I had persons in that class that they were way smarter. They got recommended for all of their subjects, but they didn't get to do it because their parents could not pay for those exams, and they ended up just leaving high school. So my question is there like a body that contributes to that? Can students go to someone or an organization to contribute to that?
The Ministry of Education pays, I think, for 4 subjects. Children on Path for 3 subjects. Children on Path get help with subjects, and many parents have come into my office for assistance to help with CXC subjects, and they have been helped, because once it's education, I always try to help. I can't speak for the other constituencies, certainly, but the Ministry of Education does make an allowance, and you know, it is things like these that we ought to look at and not just rely on government to give the answers. Everything is the government. The government has limited resources, and I believe that this is one area that we could look at and see how best we could incorporate private sector, because there are persons who want to help but they don't know how to help. But I can safely say that the Ministry of Education pays for math, English, and and the science subject.
For 2018, I know that the government, well, they always had a certain average that you attain in the subjects, and they would pay for it. That is math, English, information and technology, and one science, and something in home ec. So what I'm saying is that it's not that they're not willing to help, but it's the fact that they used to pay for math and English, right? For everyone before they had the certain average that you're supposed to reach. But they're paying for it, and then most of the population is not turning up to do the exam. Hence the reason why they have set the pass mark from 50 up.
Clap on. Well, we have some bright young people there who can answer some questions. Before you go, Minister and Mayor, importantly, it sounds like we're having some problems from the home. That's what we hear. When we talk about the homeless persons on the road, it's about the family need to play their part. When we talk about now about subjects at school, and the youth council just mentioning that person's turning back and not getting to do exams because they couldn't afford it. But yet you have another youth saying, okay, actually there is a platform that the government is providing. But it seems like we have some problems coming from the home as well. How do we navigate that problem that we have starting from the home? Because if that not fix, nothing else not going to fix really and truly. To both of you.
Well, we can admit, and surely we have to admit, that we have a lot of children that are poorly socialized. And we have to put the blame at the feet of the parents. And we have, I think in a lot of instances, you have children having children. They're not even adults themselves, so they don't know how to raise a child in the proper way. But I always urge families, because once a child is born, we have an obligation to make sure that a child is steered in the right direction. And I always urge families, send your children to Sunday school or Sabbath school, because I believe that is the foundation on which we ground all good and noble citizens. If you go to Sunday school and you go to or Sabbath school, when you become an adult, you have an inner conscience that speaks to you, to say, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? So that will help the parents. Also, respect the adults, respect the teachers. When I was a child, I didn't even know that was a long time ago, long time ago. I couldn't tell my mother that I had gotten a punishment. I couldn't do it because I would get punishment again. My mother wouldn't go to the school to accost the teacher and say that the teacher fight against her, pick me, and the teacher. I was rude because I was a child. And we must teach children and that they are children and they must do the things that children ought to do. I think that is a big problem. We will leave children with telephones, they have access to internet, they have access to all sorts of negative things out there. And I believe that as parents and adults, we have a responsibility to these children to allow them to be children and to raise them in the way that they ought to be raised. I believe that that is important. And I believe that I should be able to, just like when I was a child, if I see Peter Gay or any one of you out there misbehaving, that I should be able to say, come on, Peter Gay, this is not how you should behave. And her mother won't come and accost me. But we're afraid to do it because we know that the parents will come and cuss us and say, let me pick me, I want you pick me, pick me for. That is, we can't run, a country can't run like that. We have to restore public order. We can't have in the towns people just park anywhere, throw garbage anywhere, sell anywhere. We have to restore public order and we have to show respect for one another. We have to respect each other.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I tend to concur with the minister. However, I would just like to add that, we have a country where resources are limited. And I believe that people take advantage of the situation because it's free. The passes at math and English across Jamaica are low. But at the same time, parents will come and they want you to assist them in paying for subjects where the child may have failed the mock exam and failed miserably. And then whenever you say, but the person only got 45 in the thing, you say, boy, not giving them a chance. But the fact is that the writing is already on the wall. They are not prepared to pay because deep down they know in the back of their minds that that money is wasted. But because they're not paying, they will go ahead and solicit support from someone else. I believe that if you really and truly want good for your child, you have to encourage the individual, the child, to really step up to the plate and at least pass the exams. And if you get in the 40s and 30s, you have to repeat. You cannot be expected to, by the grace of God, go and take an exam and somehow you're going to pass. It just don't work like that. You have to prepare yourselves. And people don't prepare themselves. I mean, I went through exams, the minister went through exams, and it was rough for me too. But you have to just dedicate your time and resources to try to make life. And it cannot be just government just supporting, and people not putting the effort into it. There's a disconnect. People have to take ownership.
People have to take ownership. A good point on which you end. You had a question you want to ask as well, but this person at the microphone has been standing for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
All right, I am speaking in regards to the community centers. The community centers are there. Yes, it sounds as a good idea, but sometimes we as individuals, the community centers, they are there, and a program might come put into place to say, okay, then this is what's going to be happening at the community center every day, every evening, every weekend, or so on. But we as individuals, sometimes we just say, all right, then put it off. We don't care. Yeah. So sometimes, yes, we're going to say, minister, our government, we need this, we need that. But what it is that we as individuals are doing to keep this or make this an ongoing thing. We too,
Take ownership.
Yes,
talk up you, Ms. Effie.
Take ownership.
Do that.
Talk up you, Ms. Effie. So what are going to do? That's what she's saying. She asked, what as the youth are going to do here?
Take ownership.
Because we have a police youth club in Center, and my church, in partnership with them, we have a couple members here, and we have a health fest coming up. But the thing is that me personally, there are just some events only that allows me to go out. You understand? It's not like, I'm going to use a community center for this, use it for this. What is it that we as youth are going to do to make this an ongoing thing?
I have the answer, because you were here yesterday? No,
I wasn't.
So there were 40 young people trained yesterday in advocacy. We gave them the matrix of how to find the problem, why they have the problem, find people who have the same problem, find people who care, whether it be in government or organizations that have the same interests. You're all going to get together and come up with a strategy. You're going to find out what the objectives are of your solution that you come up with to fix these problems. And then you're going to go out there and advocate, talk to people, find partners, get your resources together and go out on the ground and put in the hard work as a team. That's how you're going to fix it. And the 40 young people who were here yesterday, some of you are here today. Let me see your hands. All right, look around. Make sure you all have each other's phone number before you leave, so you can work out how you're going to implement some of these solution, activities. And then if you need your member of parliament to go and help pass a law to make what you need done, then you lobby the government to do what you need. And then if your mayor who has money, and I think it's tax people money you have, right? Where do you find money to fix? I've been wanting to know, how many people know where they find the money to fix the roads? Tell me if you don't know, because I really don't know. But how much does the mayor have to fix the roads? Anybody know? 3 million. 3 million? Is that so, sir?
True. No, it depends on how much money
I want to know.
But the money that you pay for your motor vehicle, the taxes and so on, that is what is used to fix the road essentially.
How many persons learned something new just now? Put your hand up. Very good, because I surely did not know, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. All right, let's keep going. Young people, yes.
I was getting right there, because in my community, I see the problem and I want to take up the challenge and be a part of the change. So in return, I am the change. I am going to be the change that I want to see. So I am willing to work with others and you also.
Which community are you from?
Content Garden.
Count me in.
All right, talk up you. Okay, important issue. The young man right here in the white shirt had asked about half an hour now about the issue of
unemployment.
And we need to address that issue. We can't dodge the question. You have a question as well related to community centers. Ask questions.
Since we're on community centers,
yes.
Through the Universal Access Fund, which is the fund that through the internet providers and the mobile providers, we're looking to see if we can have Wi-Fi in some of these community centers, in and around St. Anne. We're looking to see if we can roll that out. So in various community centers and in the town centers, we can have free Wi-Fi and also to have reading room where you can have desks, chairs, and internet in these community centers, like a homework study. So they're looking to see if we can roll out some of those also, waiting for the Universal Access Fund to give us the okay. That has been presented, and we're looking to see if we can get that going. So I want you to look out for that and take ownership of those centers when they're established and open.
I'll give a man microphone, man. We'll make sure you get contact.
Good afternoon. Yes. Let me say good afternoon, everyone, and apologies for being late. I worked last night at the hospital and I had 3 funerals to attend, and I'm here now. So apologies. Those who don't know, when they ask the question as to those who live in the constituency to put up your hands, I saw about 5 hands. When they ask those who don't know the offices, I saw about 10.
Start again. Let's start again. Member participation. How many of you don't know you're a member of parliament? Okay, we're going to work out if it's one of them here today. How many of you do live in Dr. Campbell's constituency? Let's count. Well, high hands, quick. Participation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many of you don't know where Dr. 7, sorry, I see you on the stage. How many of you don't know where Dr. Campbell's office is? Let's see the hands. Hi guys, participation. I see 1, 2, let's say we see 4. So please tell us where.
The office is at 11 Main Street, Brownstone. It's right across from the police station. Can't miss it. Right across from the police station. You cross the market heading down, the police station is on your left. The office is right across at the right hand side. It's open Monday to Fridays from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The office number is 917-7590.
Make a note of that. This is how you get in contact with a member of parliament. So the number is again?
The office number is 917-7590. The MP's number is 369-7622.
Slow it down. So to get in contact directly with the MP, that is? Well, second thing, getting the information right here, important stuff. So 369-7622. 369-7622.
And the email address is datacam@gmail.com. It's pretty easy to remember. My full name @gmail.com.
All right, we're going to go straight to this question because she lives in your constituency. So just let's go to there and then we're going to go here just while you're there. And then we'll take it to the
example, somebody is asking, how many days of the week are you in office?
Okay, so the life of an MP is not as people would think, looking at it from the outside. And I don't know if Sandri or Vanessa, if they're here, the youth parliamentarians on Northwest, I don't see it. They would have realized that it's not as easy as people think about it. One, the role of an MP is twofold. Parliamentary representation, constituency work. A lot of people only think of the constituency work, and therefore they want to see you in their communities daily. The truth be told is that it is very likely that the day that you're walking a community is the day that you're not actually making any representation. It's very likely. Because on the other days, you have Tuesdays that you're in Parliament. If you sit on committees, then you have Wednesday that you may be in Parliament as well. Yes? And then you have other days that you try to meet with the different agencies, ministries and departments to make the representation to get something to come back to the constituency. Yes? So if you want the road to fix, you have to actually write and go and seek audience with persons from the National Work Agency. And then you have one day that you're in office. My day is on a Friday. Right? So on a Friday, I get there from about 10 and I leave when there's no one left in the office. We don't limit how many persons can come. Any amount that show up on the day, they register and they are seen in the order in which they came to the office. So that's pretty much how it works. Thank you.
Okay, back to the microphone. More questions?
Good afternoon. My name is Donnie Dyer, and I'm a resident of the Salem community. And I want to ask, I came with this burning topic because I have a whole 3 pages with pictures to back me up. And
pictures, them, the bring up our pictures.
I came here today talking about my community center, which is in Salem. We call it our community center, but it's not actually our community center. It's actually a playground where we do most of our activities. I heard where Mr. Dayton Campbell tried getting that piece of land for the community so we could get a nice community center. But Sir Dayton Campbell, I know if you ask the community for backative to help you and try to get this community center built, I assure you that we will support you 100%, sir.
Dr. Campbell, community center, Salem. What say you?
Okay. Is it that the questions for me, they were saved up?
Yes, man, that's before we have to make an answer, man. Everybody was here before that.
Sure. Well, that's fine. So, this is how it works again. There is a limited allocation that goes to a member of parliament. And the allocation that we have direct control over is what is called the Constituency Development Fund, which is about $20 million. Initially it was 40, was reduced to 20, then 15, and now it has been moved back up to 20. It may sound like a lot of money to somebody who don't have $20 million. However, when you start looking at what you have to do with it, then you realize that it's really not such an exorbitant sum. And to construct the Salem Center is about $7 million. That's just the basic construction. We're not talking about leveling the field and, fencing the field and putting in some little areas where people can sit down and those things. I'm talking about just the building, a structure like this with a bathroom area and a concessionary area. However, the Salem Center I have asked for and I'm yet to receive, but I do hope the mayor will use his good office to assist me to get the estimate, because that center is supposed to commence in this financial year of 2018-2019. Yes?
Yes.
And how you know that? Check. How you know I'm not just saying that? Because we completed the one in Discovery Bay, and we're in the process of completing the one in Runaway Bay, and the one in Bamboo in Lilyfield is going to start this month. So the Salem one is the one coming in for this financial year, 2018-2019. So as long as I'm able to get the estimate from the parish council, then we'll be able to start with the Salem Community Center and do it in phases. So the building first, then you come back to ensure that the playing area is leveled, because you can't be playing football on uneven surfaces. Yes? And eventually we'll also need a hard court so that the females can play netball or the males can play basketball or whatever it is. But it cannot be done all at once by the simple limitation of resources. So that's where we are currently. But I do understand your point of view. There's no way in Salem to meet, and it will be completed before the end of this term. And I hope that it will start as soon as I get the estimate in the new financial year.
Thank you very much. And I can assure you, Ms. Robinson, that we will put this community center to good use, because we are always there. Just only on Fridays we're not there.
So it's not closed during the week?
No.
Okay, thank you so very much. Go ahead with the question. Tell us a name and a question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Coretta Francis. I'm representing the Bamboo Division, and I'm speaking to Nathan Campbell and Mr. Nathan Campbell and Shiny Robinson. I would like to know how we can get some water in our district. Bamboo. Yes.
Dr. Campbell, you can sit and answer. If it's any consolation, I can sit and rest your feet. You know, we're not attacking you. You're just seeking a little answer.
I don't want to run the risk of falling asleep. So I stand. No, but on Thursday, we had a meeting with the NWC and the members from NHT that are looking at the scheme refurbishing project that the Prime Minister spoke about in his presentation. I think it was last year. Yes. So the Bamboo water system, and let me contextualize it for you. I was actually born in Bamboo, at my house in Bamboo. That's where I was born. Back in the 80s when they used to come to your yard and deliver people, I was born at home in Bamboo. So I'm fully familiar with the struggles. Bamboo is a community that has never had potable water. Never had it. Most persons do rainwater harvesting. However, in 2013, we got an estimate done to bring water to Bamboo. The source would be from a well that was dug in Green Park. You know where Green Park is, right?
No,
on your way
sir.
to Claremont. Yeah, man. Just as you beat that road where you have to look left before you come out, or else the car will run. And you know that. Coming up from St. Anne's Bay, right there. When you're going on your way to Claremont, just put it like that. So the idea is to use that, because to get water to an area, there are several things you have to have. One, you have to have the source. Then two, you have to pipe the water from the source to the area that you want to get it to. So Green Park is where the well is. The well is already there, right? So it's to commission the well and then to run the pipes. The pipes start to run to Bamboo, and Hilltop, which is the highest point in Bamboo, is where the tank is supposed to be, and then you gravity feed the water to the rest of the communities. So you pump it up to Hilltop, and then you gravity feed it down Hayes Road, Shelley Road, Clayground, and Canaan Road, Lilyfield, wherever it is that you want to take it to. The estimate to do this, remember that I told you that the CDF is $20 million per year. The estimate to do the water supply for Bamboo is $470 million. Yes? So this is something that it is not just off any member of Parliament to just get up and do a project like that. Neither myself, neither Mrs. Robinson, anybody can just get up. That's something that you advocate to be done through the National Water Commission. Now, that water supply is to also service Higginton and Claremont. Higginton represented by Mrs. Robinson, and not anymore. It's now by Lisa, and Claremont by Lisa as well. Right? So it is to service a wide area. We are, as I said, the estimate was done in 2013. And when I spoke to Mr. Jackson in 2016 and 2017, they said they were in the process of procuring the pipelines.
Who is Mr. Jackson? What's his title? Where? From where?
From the National Water Commission.
Okay. So, what? No. You're there now. You say you did an estimate in 2013.
Yes.
Well, no, 2018, 4 years after. Clearly, water still lacking. It's beyond your control in terms of solely being able to get it done. But what? No.
Well, I was trying to go through all of that to put it in context. In saying that $472 million is not something you can just come up with. Has to be made into a project by the government and the National Water Commission. When we got the approval done, the idea was that it would have been allocated, but there's a thing in Jamaica called procurement guidelines, and you will hear about the bureaucracy and the red tape. From approval of a project, to getting it started, it takes about 18 months. Roughly, in Jamaica. You agree that we're going to do this project. You have the money to do it, and it takes about 18 months to get it started. Ridiculous if you ask me, but it's a part of the problem that we have in what is called the system. Because of all the red tape, because you may have one or two persons who have low integrity, and as a result, what has happened is that we have developed so many tapes that we've now tied ourselves together to the point that we can barely get anything done. So what I want to happen, to see happening, is for us to get the allocation from the National Water Commission, and so we can start implementing the water supply for Bamboo. It is my greatest priority. As I said, I was born there. We want to build a high school there, cannot be done because we don't have water. We want to increase the value of people's property, because once you get water up into the area, naturally the value of their property will go up. So if you can buy a piece of land, buy it from now, because we will get the water there in short order, at least before I leave the political arena.
All right. Thank you so very much for that. Good question. And I think they will be satisfied with that answer. Okay, so we're in the last 8 minutes. Last 8 minutes now, guys, just before 4 o'clock. We're taking all your questions. Whatever issues you have now is the time to get your questions answered. Our two advocates answered. I know you had another question. You have a question as well you want to ask? We'll come into you as well. Kemar is at the microphone now. Kemar, the seller where you're from, and go ahead with the question.
My name is Kemar Richards, and I'm from St. Anne's Bay. My question now is, why are there so many Chinese-owned businesses? And what is going on for the Jamaican
Talk in the mic, Kemar. Say, come on, I want to capture your...
It sounds as though I want to knock a nail on the head.
Hold on a minute. And I want to just make a quick note. When Kemar came in here, Kemar had no voice. Kemar was in his own corner, very shy and not talking to anybody. So I would like to let you all know I took him on as my mentee. And I charged him to ask a question, and I didn't know this is what you're coming with, but this is very interesting. So please ask a question. Everybody say, talk up, youth.
So my question is, why are there so many Chinese-owned businesses, especially in this area, St. Anne's Bay?
Well, we're perceptive, and this is not something that is just St. Anne's Bay. This is all over Jamaica. Now, I presume you're referring to the immigrant Chinese, because as you know, we're a nation of out of many one people. And we have Chinese, Indian, African descent, European descent. We're all out of one people as a country. So we support all ethnicities. However, there has been in recent times, and it's just history, a sociology lesson now, where there's been an influx of Chinese migrants doing particularly haberdashery and supermarket type business. And as someone who was in the supermarket business for well over 20 years, I can tell you that there was a transformation done about 10 years ago where indigenous Jamaicans, like myself, decided to come out of the business because there was an influx of Chinese who wanted to buy us out at attractive prices because they saw where they could invest in Jamaica. The positive spin to that is that there are a lot of towns, like, for example, Port Maria, that was a dying town. And because of the economy that they have created, has had a multiplier effect on the economy. So Port Maria today is not a dying town anymore, it's actually thriving. In Ocherius, they came in and did a lot of development. They built plazas and so on. So they have created some level of economy in the town also. So apart from the obvious ethnic issues there, they have created an economy in the towns and are doing well. What I would like to see the Chinese immigrants do is to invest further in Jamaica, Jamaicans, in that they would take on Jamaican employees and empower those Jamaican employees and really make a contribution in the social welfare of the Jamaican people so they can integrate themselves as the Chinese did several generations ago. So when we say a Chinaman, it's a Jamaican Chinaman that came here many years ago and have integrated themselves. But the fact is that we need to see that integration. We need to see them working in the communities and really becoming a part of the community, both economically, socially, culturally, and so on.
Okay, Kemar, you have a follow-up to that?
No.
Okay, here is an issue with me earlier, the issue of how employees are treated. And Minister Robinson, in your capacity as Labour Minister, this is a concern that some people have. How the Chinese treat the Jamaican workers.
If the Ministry of Labour does not have a report, we cannot investigate. So we have to be sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that persons who are working with Chinese have concerns. If those concerns are raised, we send inspectors, labor inspectors, who check out, and if the breaches are there, they are warned, they are given time to correct them. If they are not corrected, we can actually close down the businesses. But we can safely say that the Ministry of Labour hardly gets any complaints. It is said out there in a wider society, but as to specific reports being made, there are very few.
How can persons go about making these reports? Thanks for your question, by the way.
There is a Ministry of Labour office in every parish in Jamaica, and there are Labour officers there.
Specifically for St. Anne's?
Yeah, there is one in St. Anne's Bay.
There's one in every parish capital in Jamaica.
Okay.
And she's about to build an even bigger one. But in relation to the Chinese, yes, I agree that we're in a global space. However, I do think that there is more that the government of Jamaica can do. And I'm not talking one party government versus the other. I'm talking about government, whichever party is in power. And this is the issue. If you have the local indigenous people, majority of us look like the persons in this room. If you have your businesses in St. Anne's Bay, for instance, and the Chinese come and they get all sorts of concessions and waivers and everything like that, it simply means that they'll be able to sell their goods at a cheaper cost. And it will therefore drive the indigenous business out of operation. And that is something that we have to be mindful of. Because if you travel around, you will realize that most of the black-run supermarkets are closing down. Most of the black-run wholesales have to be closing down because these persons are getting all different sorts of waivers, which gives them an unfair advantage in the workspace. This is also the same thing with some of the construction work. The local contractors would not be able to compete with some of the Chinese contractors just based on the fact that the Chinese contractors, some of them are funded by the state. Yes, so it becomes unfair in the competitiveness. And the issue taxation avoidance is also something that needs to come into sharp focus. Because the allegations are that most of these persons, I don't remember exactly how long it is that they get, some of these people get before they pay taxes. I think some of the new businesses get a honeymoon period before they start paying taxes. What some persons do to cut tax avoidance as opposed to tax evasion is that you simply change the name.
1 second, Dr. Campbell. Empress will change her mic just for you to wrap up. We have the final 3 questions. We have been here 2 hours now. We are actually at the end. So what I'm going to do is just ask the last 3 persons here. Their questions are very related. To just ask them as soon as they wrap up your answer right now first, though. I don't want to
So just to finish the point, that tax avoidance becomes an issue. Because if you get a honeymoon period in which you don't pay taxes if it's a new business, or no, tax evasion is a criminal thing. Tax avoidance is a different thing. So the alternative to get away with it, and it's more avoidance. But anyways, whichever it is, they're not paying their taxes. And what they simply do If I own the business and I get 5 years before I start paying taxes, when it is 5 years, I change the business into my sister's name. And so she gets 5 years before she pays. And when she's finished, she comes to the next brother or the cousin and they get 5 years. So there are no taxes being paid. If you look at Jamaica, at the registry of companies, and the percentage that actually pays taxes, I believe it is less than 10%. And that is the reason why the burden of taxation then falls on us, the regular citizens, whether it's via GCT or it's via income tax or whatever, special consumption tax. That's why it comes back to us, because the big corporations and businesses are avoiding the tax measures.
Something we have to address. Important issue that we have not touched on. Youth will, all three will now ask their question. Just introduce yourself, where you're from, and ask a question, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Noella, and my question speaks to brain drain. Brain drain is a very prominent issue in the parish of St. Anne. What can we do to keep the brighter minds in the parish of St. Anne? Because they're all migrating to Kingston and other parishes.
Okay, thank you. So have the other question asked immediately as well. Just have them answer. So that's brain drain, keeping the bright minds in St. Anne. Go ahead now. Question?
All right, so I'll just ask my two questions quickly. What is the direct approach towards the drainage in Oterius division? That I noticed that they put up a very beautiful sign. I take a picture in it and put it on my Facebook page. But I also want to know what is the direct approach to clean the drainage in Oterius that is exactly behind that beautiful sign. Welcome to Oterius. Yeah, that's something that look pretty, you know. But behind it, that's something to smell right. All right. So I want to know what's the direct approach to deal with. The second question I would like to ask, and I would like to. My two questions was not, they were answered, but they were not answered. I mean, maybe one voice. All right, so my questions that I asked, they were answered, but they were not answered as in to the maximum, but I do accept. All right, so my second question is, what is the plan to deal with the organizational colonialism that the Chinese in Jamaica, what they do, the organizational colonialism that the Chinese and the Indians and the Mexicans, they do practice among Jamaicans. So for the layman terms, well, I know, for the layman terms, organizational colonialism, it means say, they employ you for 3 months and they say, oh, we'll call you back, and they not call you back. That's something I just said a while ago. So that is my person. I will ask those questions to one, Mr. Bill Navis, who is my counselor, a good brother still, and Miss Shaheen Robinson. She's a good MP. So Shaheen Robinson, yes.
All right, Artist McDonald again, YMP for Southeast St. Anne. The question that I'm asking Shaheen Robinson is, what is the plan that the government has as it relates to crime and as it relates to young people? And the question was raised about youth unemployment. And I'm just connecting both together. Because if we are not able to provide the necessary job for our young people, then they will turn to a life of crime. So I want just to find out the plans and how the government and the opposition is willing to work together to get Jamaica back to where it's supposed to be, and how can we as young people be a part of that change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that was the last of all our questions. Before we allow you to answer the final questions, just clap everybody who was brave enough to come up and ask a question, please. We had some really, really good questions. And even before you answer this final set of questions, I just want to thank all our elected officials for coming and participating as well. They have carried with us since 2 o'clock, and it's now 2 hours and 10 minutes exactly. Clap them, please. We really appreciate it. Must be exhaustive. But just before we let you go, to answer them last 3 questions there. The first one, brain drain. Who will be tackling that one? Brain drain in the parish, affecting the parish significantly.
Well, I think what we've been having is brain drain out of the country. But what I will say is that, particularly along the coast, there has been so much development and the projection for development in and around St. Anne. That's going to hit St. Anne within the next few months. And it's already started hitting St. Anne, like the Charisma development, like the expansion to Bahia Principe, like the housing developments that are coming, and other projects. There is going to be, and I really want you to gear up, because I've been advocating and telling the young people in particular to get yourself trained, because there's going to be demands. Bahia Principe is looking at 1,500 rooms. Charisma is looking at 10 hotels. There's going to be like 15,000 houses developed across the road from there, the Landover area. There's going to be developments in and around Ocho-Rios. There is going to be so much demand for skilled labor. And skilled labor doesn't necessarily mean just in the waitress and bartenders and so on. I mean, there is the back-end jobs associated with that also. So, I mean, and then there's a potential of call centers and so on that's happening in and around Jamaica in recent times, along the coast. So it is important for you to get skilled, get a form of skill, and get yourself certified, so that once these opportunities come, you're ready. Because one of the things that they're concerned about, these big developers, is that will they have enough people to fill these slots? Yes, it may seem like we have a lot of people that are unemployed and so on, but majority of the people that are unemployed right now, trust me, the big entities right now can't find enough at the hospital. We can't find enough nurses, trained nurses. I'm not talking LPN and we're talking RNs. We can't find enough doctors of the important doctors. We can't find enough engineers. We can't find enough qualified teachers. What I'm saying to you is that once you have to get yourself skilled. If we want laborers who don't have any 1 and 2 CXs or no CXs and so on, the line goes from here all the way to Ocho-Rios. But the fact is that if you want somebody who's skilled, they advertise it in the papers and you can hardly find people who are skilled. So what I'm saying is that use up heart. And heart can find jobs for you. And there are opportunities also, because we promote the farm work programs and so on with the minister here. Because at the end of the day, the remittance comes back. That is the scope of thought on that one. So get yourself up to speed, get yourself skilled, get yourself trained, so that once the opportunities come, we can slot you in.
Okay, thank you so much. The other issue was the pretty drain behind the Ocho-Rios sign. Go ahead.
Thank you so. And I want to tell you my appreciation for your social media. Big up of that Ocho-Rios welcomes you sign. A lot of effort went into it. It's not fully finished. The LED lights behind there needs to be installed, and the landscaping with the hotels and TEF and all those who supported the effort. It's part of the Ocho-Rios cleanup beautification project that we're doing.
But just behind it, he says, big issue.
Yes, the issue behind it now is a drain. Now that drain is cleaned every 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I tell you something, as you clean it, by the following evening, true, right, I know for a fact, we clean that drain, right? And it's cleaned often. And as you clean it by the evening, people throw stuff in there. So, I mean, think it's about to cover it off. There is a sense, before the plaster was even done.
Pause, everybody. So, important issue, I just want to quickly address it quickly right here. So you're essentially saying, in short, some persons are nasty. Yeah? Some people nasty for true? Do you believe the mayor should perhaps find a way to implement something or would charge people or fine them when they do stuff like that, when they dump the place or trying to fix up or something like that?
Is that,
like fine them?
Is that possible for us to implement a policy or a law that says that some people will be fined? Is there a law already, and how much are they fined? But hold on, how are we implementing that?
Is the law being enforced? Proper enforcement,
Is it?
Mayor?
Let me hear, is it being enforced?
Could you have the mayor have the microphone?
Jamaica as a country is not short on the laws, you know. As a matter of fact, any problem you can identify in Jamaica, there is extensive research that has been done on it already. There's likely some proposal already. What we lack as a people is the enforcement of the different laws that we put in place. Just take for example, the tobacco, the anti-tobacco legislation. You pass a law because of all the harmful effects of smoking. But if you walk out from here right now, just down to the clock, you're going to see a whole heap of people just smoking and doing what they want just the same. And they're doing it and they don't care.
Enforcement.
Right? Because of enforcement.
You are the persons here in Parliament and at the municipal corporation. So, but directly as it relates to the garbage, though, Mayor, enforcement would have to probably come from your office. And here a person saying, from where would the enforcement part come? Because
this is National Solid Waste Authority, NSWMA, that enforces that. Garbage collection is not something out of the parish council or the municipal corporation. It used to be like that, but that has been changed for some time now.
We're not talking about the collection, we're talking about the litter, the anti-litter laws being enforced.
All of that.
It's related to the NSWMA?
That is correct.
And do you think some dialogue from our office can be done to rectify that issue?
Yeah, we have had meetings with them about enforcement and garbage collection and the entire gamut. Although it has gotten better in recent times with the advent of the trucks and so on. The enforcement piece of it, as far as I'm concerned, has not moved anywhere. There needs to be greater enforcement and some examples made. And it's not only throwing of garbage, it's the urination and all of that stuff along the roadsides and so on, in the public space and so on. That people do it with total disregard for others.
Okay, thank you so much. Final question now was directed to Minister Robinson, the issue of youth unemployment and the rise in crime. Okay, and also, so organizational colonialism, what he mentions, persons employed 3 months and then let go after that, and the issue of crime and how the youth can be a part of the plans for the government.
I have no evidence of the colonization, so I can't speak to that. And we have a motto that says one out of many, one people. And I myself have my own ethnic background. So I will never go the ethnic route. I believe that all of us as Jamaicans have to coexist. And we realize that persons come here in the name of investment. They come here and they open businesses. They employ Jamaicans. Sometimes it might not be the best, but we have to realize that in the name of investment, people will come from all over the world. When you look at a country like Canada, they're seeking to grow their immigration status for persons seeking resident status in Canada. They want to move it to because they're underpopulated, they want to move to 300,000 new immigrants by 2020 because they realize that those persons also come with money and investment and create jobs. So I know that all of these ethnic groups have come and they have created their own niche in the business sector in Jamaica, and they have contributed themselves to the building of this country. And if you were to talk to some of those in Otrius or St. Anne's Bay, they regard themselves as Jamaicans as much as I regard myself as a Jamaican who was born here. The persons who talk about 3-month contracts, you agreed to work for 3 months. You agreed to work for 9 months. You agreed to work for 6 months. You agreed to work for a year. You signed a contract. That's why you can speak to a 3-month contract. Once you have agreed to that, there is very little that any one of us up here could do. And the future of work is moving in different direction. There is talk of non-standard work, where persons have 3 and 4 jobs because they work on contracts with different organizations. We have to look at how the world is moving and realize that's how we have to go. As young people, you will have to do that. Look at Walmart. When you go into Walmart in America now, how many cashiers do you see? Everybody is checking out their own stuff, whatever you have bought inside there. So when you go to the airport, it's the same thing. You don't have custom officers and immigration officers looking at your forms. Again, there are machines, the kiosks are all over, and machines are all over the airport. Uber, which is the biggest taxi company in the world, that's the transportation, they don't own one taxi because of how they have operated. They have contracted persons to work as taxi operators. Airbnb is the biggest hotel business in the world. They do not own a room. What they do is market your room in your house and sell it to people and make their percentage on it. So the world of work is changing, and as young people, you have to step up. Not me, because I'm old.
It's okay. You can put yourself in that category.
But you have to step up and understand that creativity is the name of the game, and also making yourself marketable. So you also have to be trained and certified, because the world of work is indeed changing.
The question from, so that was the colonial question. I say essentially, don't be divisive, let us unite, essentially, out of many, one person Jamaican. In short, how can the youth be a part of the change as it relates to crime and violence plaguing the parish, and I guess by extension, Jamaica? That was the final question, essentially, from the youth rep. And he connected it with youth unemployment. See, a lot of the violence comes because youth are unemployed. How then can the government work with the youth?
They have a responsibility to make themselves marketable so that they can be employed. And the government has a lot of programs. Currently, HEART has a program for unattached youth, men and boys and girls from 18 to 24. You can register. You will be given a travel allowance and a stipend and lunch. And you will be trained, and after that, you will be placed in organizations such as the National Water Commission, other places, SDC, a lot of places, because Dr. Campbell is a different government ministries, departments, and agencies. Dr. Campbell is aware of it, as I am. And we can only send persons to go and register and make use of the opportunity. And we urge you to do so and tell somebody else.
What did you think about that response?
I just want to say one thing. The point about people making themselves marketable, I don't think we can overemphasize that point. If you look at the information in relation to the BPO sector, the call centers, they have to interview about 10 persons to find one. For every 10 persons they interview for a job that is available in the BPO sector, only one qualifies to take up the position. We have some issues in the country where most of the people they say are unemployed, they may be unemployable because they are not certified in anything. You have to start thinking about your future and planning it out. I cannot understand why people, maybe there is an education system that it needs to start with. But I cannot understand why we're forcing everybody along a conveyor belt like it's a factory. There are persons who can go into culture and other areas. There are persons who can go into ICT. But for some strange reason, when I was in high school, you either went into science, business, arts, or technical. They did not allow for you to have any sort of flexibility. And Einstein said that if you ask a fish to climb a tree, he will live his entire life thinking it's stupid, because that's not what it's supposed to be doing. And I believe that our young people, they need that sort of guidance to guide them as to the areas that are available for employment, noting that mechanism has eliminated a lot of jobs. and therefore you have to get yourself marketable in areas that have a future.
I have to come in there because we have to wrap it. That is a very important point. Are you employable? And you need to market yourself. Looking in the mirror and ask yourself, will they hire me? And why won't they hire me? We have 2 last questions because we promised them, or 1. You're okay with not answering? I'm going to give her a chance because we promised her. And I like to give my youth the opportunity to have a voice. So please ask the question. This will be the final question, final response from whoever you direct the question to. And we're going to wrap it up and work on how we follow up on this conversation.
Your worship, Council Belnavis, yes. My question is directed to you with regards to healthcare. The St. Bay Hospital, what measures or strategies are being implemented for faster, reliable, and professional service, also with the lack of beds and overcrowding, because you have like elderly persons who are admitted who are sleeping in their wheelchairs? So that is an issue, at the St. Bay Hospital. So basically, what measures are being implemented to actually upgrade the service at the hospital?
All right, take my mic.
As you know, we just went ahead and refurbished the male surgical ward. That has eased the stress somewhat, because what you were referring to with people in the chairs and so on was essentially due to the refurbishing of the male surgical, and those individuals had to be relocated. That has been dealt with. There opened 2 new surgical wards, and 2 wards, operating theaters, and those theaters themselves is intended to ease some of the pressure. But we have embarked on another thing, in that the health center the hours has been extended. Therefore, you are now able to go straight to the health center at various times and get some of the services that you would normally go to the hospital to. Because, quite honestly, a lot of people, once they feel like a headache, they're going straight to the hospital. When in fact, you could just go to the health center and get it sorted out. Because the health center is really up to date. I mean, dental is there, and it's really. And we upgraded the health center also. So the fact is that there is a move afoot right now to ease the congestion at the hospital, put somebody to the wards, the health center, upgrade the health center in terms of the hours and the facilities there, and put in more beds, which they have done at the hospital. But there is still a overrun, which we're working on during the normal day where people come in for their normal checkups and so on, to return back after operations and things of that nature. And it's actually outside also under a tent. So that piece of it needs to be dealt with. But we have done a lot at the hospital. We have upgraded the aesthetics, the car park, the look and feel, the air conditioning, some of the wards now. The pediatrics is has been expanded and being expanded as we speak. Actually, it's one of the best pediatrics ward in Jamaica right now, and will be probably one of the best, even better than Children's Hospital when it's done. So we're actually, there's a lot of things happening at the St. Bay Hospital. It's just for us to work with it as we move on.
Okay.
The question was asked to the mayor because he's the chairman of the hospital board.
Oh.
And not in his capacity as mayor.
Mayor. Good to know. And I'm glad you said that, because as we wrap, we have to know that there are different responsibilities and different hats that you all wear. So when we engage and have conversation and dialogue with you, we need to know which hat they're wearing when we come to them. And we need to understand more about your roles and responsibilities. So thank you for making our program not complete, but near complete, by sharing with us, listening to the young people. We appreciate it, because not all MPs will turn up. So let's give them a round of applause again. And young people here today, you have to take take this on. Talk Up Youth is not going to come here every week and put on a town hall and train you in these things. You have access to information like never before. So find your leaders, and we hope as Talk Up Youth to look on social media. We will all be in a WhatsApp group together. I hope that you will take this on and empower your peers, all right? Develop your advocacy, get on the road and run, walk, fly, and do what you need to do to make your lives better, all right? And don't ever feel that you don't have a voice, because your voice is important. Say, my voice is important. How many of you feel more empowered over the last 2 days? All hands or no hands, but you must participate. How many of you do not feel empowered at all from yesterday or today? Put your hand up. Okay, good to know that it has been a success. Clap yourselves again. Thank you very much, elected officials here to serve us. Give it up for Giovanni as well. And the entire young team. 80% of our team is under 25, so clap the young people that play an important part in getting this together with the company, organization, social enterprise, Talk Up Youth, and all of the older youths in Talk Up Youth. Renee, clap them. Marilyn, thank you.